try. Another wonderful mitzvah we have on Erev Shabbat is to light the Shabbat candles. As the Gemara on Sechet Shabbat, Chav Gimel Medret tells us it's a mitzvah derabanan, and there's a few reasons why the rabbis instituted such a thing. The Rashi tells us it is for the sake of the honor of the Shabbat. The Tosafot is of the opinion it's for the enjoying the Shabbat. The person has light in his room, he'll enjoy the Shabbat. You honor a meal and you honor an occasion by lighting candles. And the Gemara also tells us in Sechet Shabbat it is for the sake of Shalom Bayit. If a person does not have light, especially in the olden days, they didn't have electricity, and they don't have candles lit before, so therefore her husband will come home, he might stub his toe, and then he might get upset at his wife, why did you not light any candles? So therefore, in order to make sure there's Shalom in the Shabbat, the Chachamim instituted that we have to have candles lit in the home. Now this mitzvah is also for the men. It applies to the house, it applies to everybody in the house. It's not only a woman's mitzvah. There's a misconception that it's only a woman's mitzvah. But no, it's really applicable to men as well. Yes, it's true that the women who are designated to be the ones who have the right to do the mitzvah, they're the ones who are the first choice. But in situations where a woman's not available to do the mitzvah, then the husband has to do the mitzvah. Or if you have a situation also, Chazon Ovadia writes about a single man who lives in his own apartment, he also has to light Shabbat candles. Every house has to have Shabbat candles. Therefore, in a situation like that where there's no woman around, he has to light. Even a married man and his wife is in the hospital after she gave birth, or she's away and she's not going to be home, he has to light in his house regardless of the fact if his wife is home or not. So therefore, regardless if his wife's lighting in that place where she is, or if she's not lighting, if she's not home, he has to light for the sake of the house. So therefore, it's important to make note of that as well. The Gemara tells us there was a wonderful reward for those who light Shabbat candles. He will zochet to have his sons be Talmidei Chachamim, or his daughters will marry Talmidei Chachamim. And the Rabbeinu Bechaya says that every time you do a mitzvah, it's an opportune time to pray. It's et ratzon. So therefore, the woman, when they light the Shabbat candles, they should take that time to pray for their husbands and pray for the success of their children, in order that they should be it's an opportune time for their prayers to be answered at that time. But Kaf HaChaim also says they should put 3 coins to the tzedakah before they light the Shabbat candles. It's also an opportune time to do that. Sometimes it happens that people go away for Shabbat. Let's say married couples, they go to their in-laws, they go to their parents, and they want to know where they're supposed to light for the Shabbat candles. So the halacha is that preferably, or Chazon Ovadia writes, preferably if you're going to stay and sleep in the parents and the in-laws, you should light in your private room where you're going to be staying over there. They're usually dedicated room for the couple, and that's where they're going to be sleeping. No one has access to it. Preferably, that's where they should light with a bracha there. Because there's a mahlok in Reish Samech Gimal, Maran writes that if a person lights in a place where they're already lit Shabbat candles, there's a mahlok in the Rishonim if you're allowed to light there, and the Shulchan Aruch says that it's we don't say a bracha. Better not to say a bracha in such a case. So therefore, if you have the owner of the house, his wife, the mother of the household, she lights in the dining room, and then the young couple who comes lights after them, they're making a bracha levatala according to Shulchan Aruch. So therefore, they should not light there. If they want to make the bracha and do the mitzvah properly, they should light in their room, as Maran writes about yeshiva boys. Maran writes that yeshiva boys should also light in their room. So you see that the preferred place is in the room when you cannot light in the dining room. Obviously, if you could light in the dining room, that'd be the best. You're enjoying from the candles while you're eating. But if the woman, the mother of the household is already lighting there, you should not light there with a bracha. So too, Chazon Ovadia says an older daughter who wants to go out of her way. She doesn't have to, but she wants to go out of her way to light Shabbat candles, and she wants to light right next to her mother. She should not be saying her own bracha, it'll be a bracha levatala. Rather, she should hear her mother's bracha and then light the candles with her afterwards and not say her own bracha. A situation where you're not going to stay in your in-laws' house, let's say you're going to eat somebody's house and go back home, over there Maran would say, in such a case, you have to light in your house where you're going to sleep, but you should light with enough oil, enough of a fuel that it'll be still lit when you come back. That way you could benefit from it when you come back from your meal. Otherwise, if you don't add extra oil, it might be a bracha levatala when you do not enjoy from the candles and you come home after they already went out. Another situation that comes in the laws of candle lighting is that people want to light early. Now, a lot of people they accept Shabbat early, and they want to light also the candles early. And the question is, do I have to accept Shabbat when I light Shabbat candles, or do I not? There's a big mahloket how to light the candles between the Ashkenazim and the Sfaradim. According to Shulchan Aruch, like all mitzvot, you do the bracha before you do the mitzvah. Mitzvot, you make the brachot over le'siyatan. So therefore, the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch and the Reish Samech Gimel, they all follow that a person should first say the bracha and then light. And it's not a problem of accepting Shabbat. According to Sfaradim, according to Shulchan Aruch, just because you said the bracha does not mean you accepted Shabbat. So therefore, you first say the bracha and then light the candles. So Ashkenazim, they're mahmir for the bahag, who says that when you say the bracha of the Dikner Shabbat, you accept Shabbat. So therefore they do the opposite. They first light the candle, they cover their eyes as if the candles are not there, and then they say the bracha, because they would hold that if you make the bracha, you accept the Shabbat. So now how are you going to light the Shabbat candles? According to the Sfaradim, that you do not have to accept Shabbat when you light the Shabbat candles. If you're lighting within half hour of sunset, you do not have to accept Shabbat when you light the Shabbat candles. If you're lighting more than half hour before sunset, you have to accept Shabbat when you're lighting the Shabbat candles in order to make that the candles are considered Shabbat candles in the honor of Shabbat. If it's too early before Shabbat, we could consider them like random candles. By you accepting Shabbat, you designated them as Shabbat candles. The earliest a person could ever light is Plaga Mincha. So therefore, even if you have to go to an early minyan somewhere, and a person wants to light Shabbat candles early, the earliest he can ever do it is Plaga Mincha. Lighting Shabbat candles before Plaga Mincha, even if you accept Shabbat, there's no such thing as accepting Shabbat before Plaga Mincha. That doesn't count. So therefore, the earliest you could do lighting